Hi everyone, it is Adia here, Booking with Adia, and today we have a recommendation video. This one is a specific, super specific recommendation video because I am actually a co-host for Arc August. I am the co-captain of Team Obsidian Order, and quick little what is Arc August. So basically, Arc August is primarily focusing us on reading our ARCs, advanced reader copies, or our ALCs, advanced listener copies. It is competitive, but there is a non-competitive team that you can join. And also, you don't have to only read ARCs. Any and all reading counts. For Team Obsidian Order, our bonus prompts are actually reading middle grade books and reading anthologies. So I decided to collate a list of, middle grade books and anthologies to share with you. And I have within those two categories, two subcategories. So I'm going to be giving you titles that are available to request on NetGalley. And that means they're either coming out in August or coming out, past August, as well as books that are already released. Like I said, remember, not all books that we read during Arc August have to be arcs to count for points. So this list is, again, a mix of recently released / backlist titles and books that are available to be requested. A note about the available to request books, I'm not going to be sharing the synopses for those, mostly because those aren't they're not a recommendation because I have not yet read them, but more of a here are some options and suggestions for you. But I will be giving you, for each of the books that are available to request, I'll be giving you their genre as well as their release date. And I feel like that is it in terms of the greater intro. Make sure to check out my bonfire as well as my Etsy shop to get yourself some merch and some bookmarks. And also, if you like to support the channel on a monthly basis, you might want to consider becoming a channel member or a Patreon member. We're going to actually start with middle grade, specifically titles that are available to request as of now. I'm filming this. It is the early morning of August 1st. First one is actually a read now, and that is Death in the Tall Grass by Andrea L. Rogers. This is a thriller releasing in September. Then we have Place of All Games by Rita Williams Garcia, a fantasy releasing March 2027. Starting Now by Janae Marks, a contemporary releasing in October. More Trouble Than It's Worth by Lisa Moore Ramey, a contemporary releasing in September. Then there's Quetzal's Labyrinth by Carla Arenas Valenti. That is a fantasy releasing in September. Mystery James Returns from the Grave by Ali Russell. This is a horror sequel releasing in September. Astra Fox and the Rise of the Wonder Workers by Isaac Fitzsimmons, a fantasy releasing in September. Ghost in the Night by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is a thriller and a sequel that is releasing during the month of August. We have The Shapeshifter's Guide to Gym Class by Kai Chen Thom. This is a contemporary fantasy releasing in September. Night of the Abiku by Craig Kofi Farmer, a horror releasing in March of 2027. Monkey King by Alina Chow, a fantasy releasing in September. And then rounding it out is one of actually my most anticipated 2027 releases, and that is Vanya and the Silver Spindle by Sangu Mandana, a fantasy sequel releasing March 2027. Now, in terms of already released, I have a whole stack. I didn't even count how many books this is. I think it'll tell me there's 19 middle grade books that I'm going to share with you. I pulled them from my shelves, which is always a task. And so the fact that I'm going to have to put these back is, we're not even going to think about it. That is a problem for future Atia. But present day Atia is going to talk to you about them. And we'll start with the contemporaries on this list. There's two contemporaries. The first one is one of my all-time favorites, and that is The Only Black Girls in Town by Brandy Colbert. This is due for a reread. I absolutely love this. This really is due for a reread. Maybe I'll do that this one. Beach-loving surfer Alberta has been the only black girl in town for years. Alberta's best friend Laramie is the closest person she has to her sister, but there are some things even she can understand. When the bed and breakfast across the street finds new owners, Alberta is ecstatic to learn the family is black, and they have a 12-year-old daughter just like her. Alberta is positive she and the new girl, Edie, will be fast friends. But while Alberta loves being a California girl, Edie misses her native Brooklyn and finds it hard to adapt to small-town living. Suddenly, the fast track to friendship doesn't seem so easy. When the girls discover a box of old journals in Edie's attic, they team up and secretly begin investigating who the journals belong to and why they got left behind. As the mystery unravels, the girls are led to the painful truth behind the journals and the shocking discovery of the story within. The Only Black Girls in Town is award-winning author Brandy Colbert's thoughtful middle-grade debut, exploring the complexities of blackness and a budding friendship. Like I said, one of my all-time favorite reads, so definitely recommend this one. Then the second one we have, the other contemporary, is Lupe Wong Won't Dance, and this is by Donna, Barba, Higuera. Lupe Wong is going to be the first female pitcher in the major leagues. She's also championed causes her whole young life, some worthy, like expanding the options for race on school tests beyond just a few bubbles, and some not so much, like complaining to the BBC about the length between Doctor Who seasons. Lupe needs an A in all her classes in order to meet her favorite pitcher, Fuli Hernandez, who's Chanacan Mexicanese just like her. So when the horror that is square dancing rears its head in gym, obviously she's not going to let that slide. Not Sent Millicent Min, Girl Genius, has a debut novel introduce a character so memorably, with such humor and emotional insight. Even square dancing fans will agree. So yeah, if you're looking for some contemporary in the middle grade sphere. Then we have 4 horror on this list. The first one being The Jumbies by Tracey Baptiste, another one of my favorite series. It says, Corinne Lamer isn't afraid of anything. Not scorpions, not the boys who tease her, and certainly not Jumbies. She knows that Jumbies aren't real. They're just creatures parents make up to frighten their children. But on All Hallows Eve, Corinne chases an agouti all the way into the Forbidden Woods. Those shining yellow eyes that follow her to the edge of the trees, they couldn't belong to a Jumbie. Or could they? Corinne begins to notice odd occurrences after that night. First, she spots a beautiful stranger speaking to the town witch at the market. Then the same beauty, called Severine, turns up at Corinne's house, cooking dinner for her father. Danger is in the air. Sure enough, bewitching Corinne's father is the first step in Severine's plan to claim the entire island for the Jumbies. Corinne must call on her courage and her friends and ancient magic to stop Severine and to save her island home. And this is actually a trilogy, which is awesome. And they're pretty short, but very scary. Next up is another super scary one, and that is The Forgotten Girl by India Hill Brown. I remember this one gave me absolute chills. This one and the other one of hers that I have, which I think was The Girl in the Lake. Do you know what it's like to be forgotten? On a cold winter night, Iris and her best friend Daniel sneak into the woods to play in the freshly fallen snow. There, Iris makes a perfect snow angel, only to find the crumbling grave soul of a young girl named Avery Moore right beneath her. Soon, strange things start to happen to Iris. She begins having vivid nightmares. She thinks she sees the shadow of a girl lurking in the night, and she feels the pull of the abandoned grave, calling her back to the woods. Obsessed with figuring out what's going on, Iris and Daniel start their research on their town. They discover that Avery's grave is actually part of an abandoned black cemetery, dating back to a time when white and black people were kept separate in life and in death. They become determined to restore Avery's grave and have proper respect finally paid to Avery and the others buried there. But they have summoned a jealous and demanding ghost, one who's not satisfied with their plans, one who is tired of being overlooked, and who wants Iris to be her best friend forever, no matter the cost. Absolutely chilling. The Forgotten Girl by India Hill Brown. The next horror on this list is Hide and Seeker by Daka Hermon. Justin knows that something is wrong with his best friend. Z went missing for a year, and when he came back, he was different. Nobody knows what happened to him. At Z's welcome home party, Justin and the neighborhood crew play hide and seek, but it goes wrong. Very wrong. One by one, everyone who plays the game disappears. pulled into a world of nightmares come to life. Justin and his friends realize this horrible place is where Z have been trapped. All they can do now is hide from the Seeker. I'm pretty sure I gave this one 5 stars. And it has a potential for a sequel, and I'm still waiting on it, honestly. Next up, we have Ophie's Ghost by Justina Ireland. This is actually a historical horror novel. Ophelia Harrison used to live in a small house in the Georgia countryside, but that was before the night in November 1922 and the cruel act that took her home and her father from her, which was the same night that Ophie learned she can see ghosts. Now Ophie and her mother are living in Pittsburgh with relatives they barely know. In the hopes of earning enough money to get their own place, Mama has gotten Ophie a job as a maid in the same old manor house where she works. Daffodil Manor, like the wealthy Cartharas family who owns it, is haunted by memories and prejudices of the past, and as Ophie discovers, ghosts as well. Ghosts who have their own loves and hatreds and desires, ghosts who have wronged others, and ghosts who have themselves been wronged. And as Ophie forms a friendship with one spirit whose life ended suddenly and unjustly, she wonders if she might be able to help, even as she comes to realize that Daffodil Manor may hold more secrets than she bargained for. Heading into the fantasy portion of this list, we have A Comb of Wishes by Lisa Stringfellow. Keyla used to see beauty in the sea glass she collected with her mother on the Caribbean beaches of St. Rita. But since her mother's death, Keyla has felt every bit as broken as the glass that is known as mermaid's tears. When Keyla and her friend Lissy stumble across an ancient-looking home in a coral cave, Keyla knows that she should leave it alone. And yet, with everything she has lost and the strange pull she feels to the comb, she can't help but bring it home with her. Far away, deep in the cold ocean, the mermaid Ophidia can feel that her comb has been taken. Despite her hatred of all humans, her magic requires that she make a bargain. The comb in exchange for a wish. Keyla knows what she wants most in her heart is for her mother to be alive. But a wish that big will exact an even bigger price. Next up is The Secret Library by Keyla Magoon. This is, well, the rest of the middle grade recommendations is going to be fantasy, but this one has a little bit of time traveling in it, which is pretty cool. Dally Pete Harrington yearns for adventure, but ever since her beloved grandfather died, her days are dull and predictable. That is, until she discovers that he left something behind for her, a map that leads to a library full of mysterious volumes. This is no ordinary library. Rather, each book is a portal to a precise moment in time, allowing its reader to travel to the past to experience a real-life secret. The library offers a perfect escape from Dally's struggles at home with her distant and business-focused mother and gives her back a piece of the adventure-loving grandfather she desperately misses. As she checks out adventure after adventure, including an exhilarating outing with pirates, she begins to dive deeper into her family's hidden history. But soon, Dally learns that the library is much more than a fun place to explore. It has intentions for her that could transform her life forever. Next up, we have The Marvelers by Dhonielle Clayton. This is actually the first book in a series, and I believe the next book in this series either comes out in August or is recently out. It's either recently out or it comes out in August. I can't remember. Ooh, I've never looked at these end pages. Look at that. That's gorgeous. 11-year-old Ella Durant is the first conjurer to attend the Arcanum Training Institute, a magic school in the clouds where marvelers from around the world practice their cultural arts, like brewing Indian spice elixirs and bartering with pesky Irish pixies. Despite her excitement, Ella discovers that being the first isn't easy. Some marvelers mistrust her magic, which they deem bad and unnatural. But eventually she finds friends in the elixir's teacher, Masuji Taka, and fellow misfits Bridget, a girl who hates magic, and Jason, a boy with a fondness for magical creatures. When a dangerous criminal known as the Ace of Anarchy escapes prison, supposedly with a conjurer's aid, tensions grow in the Marvellian world, and Ella becomes a target of suspicion. Worse, Masuji Tucker mysteriously disappears while away on a research trip. With the help of her friends and her own growing powers, Ella must find a way to clear her family's name and track down her mentor before it's too late. Another one that is, funny enough, the start of a series, and that is the first book in the Nick Blake and Remarkable series, The Manifesto Prophecy by Angie Thomas. It's not easy being a remarkable in the unremarkable world. Some things are cool, like getting a pet hellhound for your 12th birthday. Others, not so much. Like not being trusted to learn magic because you might use it to take revenge on an annoying neighbor. All Nick Blake wants is to be a powerful manifestor like her dad. But before she has a chance to convince him to teach her the gift, a series of shocking revelations and terrifying events launch Nick and two friends on the hunt for a powerful magic tool she's never heard of, to save her father from imprisonment for a crime she refuses to believe he committed. So there's also like a tiny bit of a mystery / quest element in this one as well, which is pretty cool. Then we have one that has vampires in it, and that is Sewa Boteng's Guide to Vampire Hunting by Roseanne A. Brown. A very fun one, also another start of a series. For most kids, catching fireflies is just a fun activity. For 12-year-old Sewa Boteng, it's a matter of life and death. That's because she knows some fireflies are really Adze, shape-shifting vampires from the forests of southeastern Ghana. For generations, a secret society of slayers like Sewa and her parents have protected the world from their threats. But when a group of Adze, led by a powerful witch, destroys her home while searching for a magic drum, do Sarah's parents take her with them on their quest to defeat her? No. They dump Sarah with her aunt and cousin in the middle of Nowheresville, Maryland, for her own safety. Now, instead of crossbows and battle armor, she's dealing with mean girls and algebra. Just as Sewa starts to get the hang of being a normal kid, and Adze infiltrates her school. It's up to her to assemble a team of her classmates and get them into monster fighting shape before they all become firefly food. And when she uncovers a secret that upends everything she thought she knew about her family, Sarah will have to decide which side of herself, normal girl or slayer, is the real one. After all, 7th grade is hard enough without throwing vampires into the mix. Then we have City of the Plague God by Sarwat Chada. Sikander Sikh Aziz has a frantically busy life working in his parents' deli in Manhattan after school and on weekends. Sure, he misses game night with his friends, and he wishes Daoud, a vain, aspiring actor who is supposed to be an employee, would pull his weight. But Sikh is dedicated to keeping his immigrant parents' American dream alive. After all, there's no one else they can count on now that their eldest son, Mo, is gone. Mo loved Iraq, where he was born, and taught Sikh all about ancient Mesopotamia and its mythology. As young boys, they even played at being Gilgamesh, the greatest hero of all time, and Enkidu, his trusty sidekick, battling make-believe monsters till dinner time. All this role-playing becomes painfully real when Nergal, the ancient god of disease, crashes into Sikh's life. Nergal is seeking a treasure he thinks Mo stole from Iraq, and if he doesn't get it, he will unleash a supernatural plague across New York City, transforming its inhabitants into monsters. Sikh must fight demons, join forces with the goddess Ishtar and her adopted daughter, and venture into the netherworld to save the people he loves, making heartbreaking sacrifices along the way. He must become a hero in his own right, or the city is doomed. But is that even possible for someone like him? This one's an excellent one, very heartwarming. It definitely touches on Islamophobia, so that's cool. Islamophobia, but like that's intertwined and mixed with racism, and yeah, just a good one. Then you have Adia Kelbara and the Circle of Shamans, which just has a super fun cover. Life is tough for 12-year-old orphan Adia. Her aunt and uncle believe she's an Obanje, a demon-possessed child that brings misfortune wherever they go. And Adia can't disagree, especially when she suddenly manifests mysterious powers that she can't control, causing an earthquake in her village. So when Adia is offered a kitchen apprenticeship at the faraway Academy of Shamans, she flees with nothing but a pouch of change, her cat Bubbles, and the hope that someone there can figure out what's wrong with her and fix it. But just as she's settling in, Adia stumbles upon a shocking secret. Unlike her, the Emperor really is possessed by a demon more wicked than any other, and he's on his way to the Academy for a visit. Joining forces with a snarky goddess, a 500-year-old warrior girl, and an annoying soldier in training, Adia must travel through hidden realms to exorcise the Emperor and save her kingdom. But to succeed, she first must come to understand the mysterious powers inside her. The fate of the world hangs in the balance. And this is, I don't think I mentioned, the start of a series. Next up is Winston Chu versus the Winsies by Stacey Lee. 12-year-old Winston Chu is supposed to learn impulse control at the cooking academy his mom enrolled him in. But learning to think before he acts won't happen overnight. While skateboarding home with a pie in hand, Winston inadvertently stops a robbery at Mr. Peng's Winsies, an oddity shop in Chinatown. As a reward, Mr. Peng invites Winston to choose any item in the store. But the strange old man warns Winston to browse carefully, for the first thing Winston touches will be the thing he gets. Before Winston can decide, a magpie flies under a shelf, and he impulsively grabs an old broom to sweep it out. Mr. Peng hands him the broom along with a dustpan. 2 for 1. Congratulations. Deflated, Winston returns home, determined to put the broom incident behind him, or at least in the closet. But when some of his most beloved possessions go missing, all Winston can think about is the broom and dustpan. Did they somehow take his stuff? And what or who will they dispose of next? It's time to break into Mr. Peng's whimsies, where there's clearly more than going on than meets the far-seeing eyeball. And it's time to fight magic with magic. And this time, Winston better have a plan. This is one that's like just a super fun one. Next up, we have one that actually came out in the past year. I don't know if it came out late 2025 or early 2026. I feel like it was early 2026 when this one came out. And that is Relic Hamilton Genie Hunter by Joseph Coelho. Relic Hamilton is just your average 12-year-old living a quiet life with his grandfather above their old antique shop in London. Until one day, while polishing some mysterious brass lamps in the basement, something extraordinary happens. Relic feels spine-chillingly cold, breathless, scared, and suddenly a real-life genie stands before him. But this is no kind, benevolent genie. This genie is evil, and it feeds on hope. Relic finds himself catapulted to the center of a fast-paced underground community of genie hunters, led by the excitable Professor Latimer and the uber-cool Dr. Raffaella. Together, they travel in their one-of-a-kind jet, the Aladdin, secretly chasing rogue genies before they can wreak havoc on the world. Next up, we have one of my favorites. I'm pretty sure I gave this entire trilogy 5 stars, and that is The Serpent's Secret by Sayantani Dasgupta. This is the first book in the Kiramala and the Kingdom Beyond series. On the morning of her 12th birthday, Kiramala is just a regular 6th grader living in Parsippany, New Jersey, until her parents mysteriously vanish and a drooling Rakosh demon slams through her kitchen, determined to eat her alive. Suddenly, Kieran is swept into another dimension full of magic, winged horses, moving maps, and annoying talking birds. There, she must solve riddles and battle demons in order to find her parents and basically save New Jersey, her entire world, and everything beyond it. So good. Also, her outfit is just awesome. Is it going to look? Yeah. Then we have Pilar Ramirez and The Escape from Zafa by Julian Randall. Another one that's super fun. These are all fun, but this one is particularly kooky. 12-year-old Pilar Violeta Perp Ramirez's world is changing, and she doesn't care for one bit. Her Chicago neighborhood is gentrifying, and her chores have doubled since her sister Lorena left for college. The only constant is Abuela and Mommy's code of silence around her cousin Natasha, who vanished in the Dominican Republic 50 years ago during the Trujillo dictatorship. When Pilar hears that Lorena's professor studies such disappearances, she hops on the next train to dig deeper into her family's mystery. After snooping around the professor's empty office, she discovers a folder with her cousin's name on it and gets sucked into the blank page within. She lands on Zafa, an island swarming with coconut-shaped demons and butterfly shapeshifters, where her cousin is being held captive in a sinister magical prison. Pilar will have to go toe-to-toe with the fearsome Dominican boogeyman, El Cuco, if she has any hope of freeing Natasha and getting back home. The second to last middle grade is Onyeka and the Academy of the Sun. This is by Tola Okowu. Onyeka has a lot of hair, the kind that makes strangers stop in the street and her peers whisper behind her back. At least she has Cheyenne, her best friend, who couldn't care less what other people think. Still, Onyeka has always felt insecure about her vibrant curls, until the day Cheyenne almost drowns, and Onyeka's hair takes on a life of its own, inexplicably pulling Cheyenne from the water. At home, Onyeka's mother tells her the shocking truth. Onyeka's psychokinetic powers make her a Solari, one of a secret group of people with superpowers unique to Nigeria. Her mother quickly whisks her off to the Academy of the Sun, a school in Nigeria where Solari are trained. But Onyeka and her new friends at the Academy soon have to put their powers to the test as they find themselves caught up in an epic battle, one that puts the future of all Solari at risk. Also, this cover is so fun! The last middle grade is Cici Rios and the Desert of Souls by Keyla Rivera. Living in the remote town of Tierra del Sol is dangerous, especially in the Criatura months, wherein powerful spirits break free from their home in Devil's Alley to threaten humankind. But Cecilia Rios has always believed there was more to the criaturas who roam the desert, much to her family's disapproval. After all, it's common knowledge that only brujas, humans who capture and control criaturas, consort with the spirits, and brujeria is a terrible crime. When her older sister Juana is kidnapped by El Sombreron, a powerful dark criatura, everyone in town believes she's lost forever. But Cece is determined to bring Juana back. To get into Devil's Alley, though, she'll have to become a bruja herself, while hiding her quest from her parents, her town, and the other brujas. Thankfully, the legendary criatura Coyote has a soft spot for humans and agrees to help her on her journey. With him at her side, Cece sets out to reunite her family and maybe even change what it means to be a bruja along the way. Another one of my favorite series, and this is actually a completed trilogy, so that's also super fun. Moving on from middle grade.
Hey everyone, it's Adia here from the future, and I realized that I did not share the anthologies that are actually available to request. I just wanted to do that. It's only two that I have on the list. The first one being Forge and Fire, celebrating 10 years of Black speculative fiction, which is edited by Devon Sanders. That is a fantasy anthology releasing on September 29th. And then the second one on my list is The Passing of the Dragon and Other Stories. And this is a collection entirely by Ken Liu. It is a sci-fi short story collection that is releasing on September 8th. All right, time to continue the video.
So I have 6 short story collections, anthologies here that I'm going to share with you. The first one being Out There Screaming, which was edited by Jordan Peele, and this is an anthology of new Black horror. The visionary writer and director of Get Out, Us, and Nope curates this groundbreaking anthology of all new stories of Black horror, exploring not only the terrors of the supernatural, but the chilling reality of injustice that haunts our nation. A cop begins seeing huge blinking eyes where the headlights of cars should be that tell him who to pull over. 2 freedom riders take a bus ride that leaves them stranded on a lonely road in Alabama where several unsettling somethings await them. A young girl dives into the depths of the earth in search of the demon that killed her parents. These are just a few of the worlds of Out There Screaming, Jordan Peele's anthology of all new horror stories by Black writers. Featuring an introduction by Peele and an all-star cast of Black writers, Out There Screaming is a masterclass in horror. Like Peele's spine-chilling films, its stories prey on everything we think we know about our world and redefine what it means to be afraid. This anthology features stories by Erin E. Adams, Violet Allen, Leslie Neka Arima, Maurice Brodus, Chesia Burke, P. Jelly Clark, Ezra Clayton Daniels, Tanana Reeve-Jew, Nalo Hopkinson, N.K. Jemison, Justin C. Key, L.D. Lewis, Nettie Okorafor, Tochi Oniruchi, Rebecca Roanhorse, Nicole D. Sconiers, Ryan Almacar Scott, Terrence Taylor, and Cadwell Turnbull. Then we have The Black Girl Survives in this one. This is a collection of horror stories, YA horror stories, edited by Desiree S. Evans and Saracia J. Fennell. Be warned, dear reader. The Black Girl Survives in this one. Celebrating a new generation of essential Black writers, from best-selling voices to breakout stars, The Black Girl Survives in this one makes space for Black girls in horror. 15 chilling and thought-provoking stories place Black girls front and center as heroes and survivors who slay monsters, both human and supernatural, battle spirits, and face down death. From slashers to space horror to ghost stories to reimaginings of folktales, this collection taps into a rich history of cultural folklore and campfire traditions while leaning into the nostalgia of beloved 90s horror. Except this time, the final girls are Black. Prepare to be terrified and left breathless by the expansive and thrilling pieces in this anthology. Also, just absolutely love the cover on this one. Next up, funny enough, is yet another Black horror anthology, and that is All These Sunken Souls, edited by Circe Moskowitz. Welcome to the Dark. We are all familiar with tropes of the horror genre: slasher and victims, demon and the possessed, bloody screams, haunted visions, and the peddler of wares we aren't sure we can trust. In this young adult horror anthology, fans of Jordan Peele, Lovecraft Country, and horror noir will get a little bit of everything they love and a lot of what they fear, through a twisted blend of horror lenses, from the thoughtful to the terrifying, from haunted, hungry Victorian mansions, temporal monster-infested asylums, and ravishing zombie apocalypses, to Southern Gothic hoodoo practitioners and cursed patriarchs in search of Black excellence. All These Sunken Souls features the chilling creations of acclaimed bestsellers and hot new talents, with stories from Kaylin Bayron, Dhonielle Coles, Ryan Douglas, Sammy Ellis, Brent Lambert, Aja Monet, Cersei Moskowitz, Joelle Rochester, Lyselle Sambury, and Joelle Welly. Another one where the cover is just chef's kiss. And then a classic. This is actually one of two non-anthologies where this is all works by one author, and that author is N.K. Jemisin. This is How Long Till Black Future Month, which, I mean, it's N.K. Jemisin, so honestly that should tell you all you should know, but I will read the synopsis for you. N.K. Jemisin is one of the most powerful and acclaimed speculative fiction authors of our time. In the first collection of her short fiction, which includes several never-before-seen stories, Jemisin equally challenges and delights with narratives of destruction, rebirth, and redemption. Dragons and hateful spirits haunt the flooded streets of New Orleans in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. In a parallel universe, a utopian society watches our world, trying to learn from our mistakes. A Black mother in the Jim Crow South must save her daughter from a fate offering impossible promises. And in the Hugo Award-nominated short story, The City Born Great, a young street kid fights to give birth to an old metropolis's soul. And of course, there's like a bunch of different ones. That's each individual story. But this was an absolutely great collection. Another one that I probably do need to reread, or just like go through and reread some of my favorite stories in that. And the second in the singular author collection, I actually have not finished this. I realized I put it on the list and I was like, I haven't finished this collection, but I need to go back and do that. And this is Skinfolk by Nalo Hopkinson. In Skinfolk, with 15 works ranging from science fiction to Caribbean folklore, passionate love to chilling horror, Nalo Hopkinson is at her award-winning best, spinning tales like Precious, in which the narrator spews valuable coins and gems from her mouth whenever she attempts to talk or sing. In A Habit of Waste, a self-conscious woman undergoes elective surgery to alter her appearance. Days later, she's shocked to see her former body climbing onto a public bus. What? What? In The Glass Bottle Trick, the young protagonist ignores her intuition regarding her new husband's superstitions to horrifying consequences. Hopkinson's descriptions of ordinary people finding themselves in extraordinary circumstances ring true, the result of her strong evocation of place and her ear for dialect. Okay, I might have to bump this back up on the list, if you will. Second to last book in this recommendation video is Our Shadows Have Claws, 15 Latin American Monster Stories, edited by Yamil Said Mendez and Amparo Ortiz. From zombies to cannibals to death incarnate, this cross-genre anthology drawing on Latino mythology offers something for every monster lover. In these 15 short stories, bloodthirsty vampires are hunted by a quick-witted slayer. Children are stolen from their beds by El Viero de la Bolsa while a military dictatorship steals their parents, and anyone you love might be a shapeshifter waiting to hunt. The dark worlds of these narratives are also magical ones, where a ghost witch can make your cheating boyfriend pay, bullies are brought to their knees by vicious wolf gods, a jar of fireflies can protect you from the reality warping magic of a bruja, and maybe you'll even live long enough to tell the tale. Set across Latin America and its diaspora, this collection offers bold, beautifully written stories by YA's premier Latino authors, exploring themes of oppression, grief, sisterhood, identity, first love, and empowerment. And then the last book in this recommendation video and the last short story anthology, and I can't believe I did this all in the time that I did, and that is one of my favorites, A Phoenix First Must Burn, 16 stories of Black girl magic, resistance, and hope, edited by Patrice Caldwell. Fantasy, sci-fi, and magic combined in this powerful volume of spellbinding narratives. Best-selling, award-winning, and talented fresh voices weave together past, present, and future worlds in tales of love, betrayal, strength, and resistance. Together, these stories chronicle the Black experience, centering Black women and gender non-conforming individuals through folktales, futuristic societies, and everything in between. Witches and scientists, sisters and lovers, priestesses and rebels. The heroes of A Phoenix First Must Burn shine brightly. You will never forget them. And that is it. Those are my 25 actually, I guess it was actually more than 25. My 25 recommendation and my 14 suggestions that you should go check out on NetGalley for Arc August. I am once again co-host and co-team captain of the Obsidian Order. I'm looking forward to reading a bunch of books, getting those pages in, building community, hopefully winning, doing sprints. And yeah, let me know. Are you participating in Arc August this year? If so, which team are you on and why is it obviously Obsidian Order? And are you a fan of any of the books that I mentioned? What middle grade or short story collections and anthologies would you actually add to this list for others? And yeah, just like chit chat and chop it up down below. And I will see you in another video. Bye.
Weakness showing, I ain't living for the moment. I see what's mine and I want it. Hungry like a Pac-Man. I'm Bruce Wayne and Batman. I'm Naruto with a Hanzo. Got a sharp mind like I'm Einstein. Plus I'm copywriting, so it's all mine. Check it for me, I'm